It's Wednesday, July the 17th, 2024. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and we're going to give to you in mere moments 8 news stories you vetted as conversational, some of the best stories of the day from yesterday, based on your vetting process of saying they were good enough to talk about, covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news. Feature covering Skip Bayless, Jack Black, and a little bit of David Hasselhoff on the day. Now, we'll explain the vetting process in a bit, but right now, the most important thing to know is these are stories that you said were conversational based off of what we put out there for you to vote on and things that really happen, the big stories of the news. We cover it all. So to get more information about what we do at the Conversation Project, you simply go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. You also email us with your thoughts, concerns, and all sorts of scuttlebutt at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Let's get into the headlines for this morning, the 17th of Wednesday, starting off with this story right here. And this is something that's been floating around for a few days inside of our feeds, inside of the news. We've been watching for a while, and the headline doesn't really speak to it because essentially it's a done deal. The headline for this reads, Sports Talk personality Skip Bayless is reportedly leaving FS1's Undisputed. And the reportedly is basically done, essentially. He's essentially, for all practical purposes, taping his last show at the end of the summer. This, of course, after him losing his permanent co-host in Shannen Sharp about a year, 2 years ago or so. Him first leaving, just going on his own, and then officially signing on to yell and scream at Stephen A. Smith at ESPN. Now, with the original blue script, the original blueprint, I guess, being both Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith yelling at each other on ESPN. Of course, Bayless went to Fox Sports 1 to, build the brand, make more money, so he can do it without him. And he did very well with his own shouting partner. Looks like Skip Bayless, after a very long time of doing this, 8 years of Undisputed specifically, and essentially a lifetime of just yelling and screaming at folks, is going to go do something fairly different. We'll see how different is. But right now, looks like it's a done deal. FS1 is losing Undisputed, or at least Skip Bayless to Undisputed. They'll bring some other people to try to make it work throughout the time. But this looks like it's wrapping up at the end of the summer. Let's move on to the second story of the day, something that didn't take long to get onto and turned into the larger story that we didn't know we needed. But Ingrid Andress, national anthem performance at Home Run Derby called one of the worst renditions. So Home Run Derby was Monday. That's the day where the National League and American League in baseball, the Major League Baseball, puts their best guys up who hit some dingers and see who can throw some softballs out of the park, or hit some softballs out of the park. The national anthem sung that evening by country singer Ingrid Andress, who I've never heard of before. I didn't watch the game at that point. I watched snippets in between and did not know what was happening until I saw the social media post on just how terrible it was. They were saying that Roseanne was bad, Carl Lewis was bad. This one was terrible. The country performer is, taking a lot of heat for just being so bad. And then what really brought my attention to this, what brought most people's attention to this, was the fact that she spoke out on this fairly quickly, saying she was drunk. She was literally drunk, just high on more than life while she was out there singing that song. Didn't realize how bad it was. And will go to get treatment for alcoholism. Yes, she's going to rehab after singing this terrible song on TV. Sometimes it takes seeing yourself in a very bad light, and this is a case where the world saw her and herself in a very bad light. And this is where we're going to. Bad transition. But speaking of people in their own sort of light, this is a story we teased yesterday. We'll explain what teasing a story means in just a bit. But the headline for story number 3 this morning, the headline reads, Bhad Bhabie, the rapper and internet sensation, posts 57 million OnlyFans earnings statement. Now, it's bigger than that. She actually posted the statement that she made $71 million gross, net 57 millions. If you pay your taxes and you make much money, you do well. Don't worry about those tax cuts. You have enough money to just kind of live what you have on. Swim in it like Scrooge McDuck, if you will. Now, the rapper internet sensation revealed that she's made this. Been on OnlyFans since 2021 because I guess fading stars go to OnlyFans, and OnlyFans make fading stars make lots of money going forward. It's an impressive figure, verified as legitimate based on the actual earnings statement and verifying her as someone that people seem to care about, although most people will claim to not care about her at all or ever. I may not care about it all ever, but for the pop culture zeitgeist, that is a word, then I have to kind of keep up what's going on. As I said, this is a podcast about what is conversational with you guys. We could talk about Republican National Convention and Trump getting shot and Biden getting dropped the ticket all day long, because that's all the mainstream media, all the cable news is talking about. No, Anderson Cooper did not talk about Bhad Bhabie last night, but apparently that is what we are talking about right now. Speaking of cable news and news outlets, one of the biggest blasts against news media is that it's not doing enough for people in today's day and age, doing things for the youngins, if you will, or people who've changed their perspective, or people who are just not really keen with how things have gone for a while to get things going on. Ozy Media was supposed to change that, and I guess it did, except it wasn't really about the media. It was about the money and a whole lot of fraud. Headline for story number 4. Former TV host Carlos Watson convicted in trial over collapse of Ozy Media startup. Carlos Watson, the founder and former CEO of Ozy Media, has been convicted on multiple charges, including wire and securities fraud, conspiracy, and aggravated identity theft. The verdict came after an 8-week trial and involved accusations that Watson misled investors and lenders about the finances and the status of how Ozy Media was working. Watson faces up to 37 years in prison when sentenced. Now, you may or may not remember Ozy Media. It was a big old flashy thing that was all over the YouTubes, all over clips and things, all over social media. And it was supposed to be a brand new way of getting people in. And they had big flashy names and big flashy interviews and things going on. More like a souped up Entertainment Tonight than anything else. But it was big and it was bold and it was all a scam. In fact, so much a scam that Ozy Media, the CEO and CFO, were essentially pretending to be bigwig financial backers, telling other bigwig financial backers to back the deal when the financial backers they were pretending to be weren't in the deal at all. That's how the conspiracy and wire fraud and identity theft got to be in this thing. It's a sad thing because I'm here on the internet trying to make a life, make a living, make some money off this media, and having more opportunities to do this means there's more opportunities and better chances to do that. The fact that this failed is not the issue. The fact that it failed as being such a bad bet in fraud is really the thing, and not the fact that that Carlos Watson, very smart guy, he was a hedge fund manager, I believe, as well as well as a journalist, could have made something happen. The fact that once he found it wasn't working, he went the fraud route to try to keep it going, and that's where the story unfortunately ends. At least it will end once we find out his jail sentence. Then the redemption story, may begin from there. Our 5th story for this morning. A dam failure in Nashville, Illinois led to the evacuation of hundreds of residents following severe storms that brought heavy rains and tornadoes. The dam breach caused significant flooding and impacted Illinois' Route 127, putting approximately 200 homes at risk. Emergency management officials coordinated the evacuation and reported that the immediate danger from the dam breach has been controlled, but still people are still asked to evacuate now to make sure the imminent threat can be maintained. This is essentially a whole bunch from the rainstorms that came, part of it from the backup of Beryl, and then the storms that happened later on yesterday. There were some severe storms happening yesterday going through the region that you may not have seen or heard while you're watching the convention going on, but south of Chicago was hit fairly big with tornadoes and storms happening. Weather very much is a thing. We'll keep an eye on this issue, especially if they have more issues with flooding and the dam maybe collapsing there in Nashville, Illinois. This is an interesting story at number 6. So work with me for this one. This is going to take a little bit of detail, and the robot editor that pulls the text from the stories is, doing a good job today, but doing very brief and piffy things when I wanted to do more bigger things today. So I'll have to sort of riff and ad-lib this a little bit. But fact of the matter for this story, Tenacious D, the comedy rock duo that consists of Jack Black and Kyle Gass, has canceled the remaining spots on their tour following a controversial remark made by Gass. The remark was when Black asked on stage, "Hey Gass, if you could have one wish, what would you get?" And the wish he asked for was, "I wish the guy would not have missed when he shot out at Trump." Yeah. Exactly. So from that, Jack Black sort of dropped gas from this contention. If anything, they ended the tour abruptly because of that. And now basically everyone is dropping themselves from Kyle Gass. His management team is leaving him. His band is gone. He's not making money for the rest of this tour. We're going to see how this thing actually plays out going forward, and for him and his redemption story, if there is one. As I said in the recording I put out on Sunday, we're much better than this. We're much better than this. And conspiracy theories aside, because I love some conspiracy theories, and the fact that they're out there prove that we are Americans and we can have outlandish thought, which is fine. But some people should know better. Some people should think better, and some people should basically not say, yeah, he should have got shot. We'd be better off with that happening. Trust me, we would not be. Number 7, speaking of story on the trust me aspect, we put out news articles. We actually covered it here on Things You Might Have Heard and many other cases in some of the hot takes we've had about Shannen Doherty and her estranged husband working towards divorce, being Kurt Iswarienko, which I always butcher. And the fact that she was saying publicly that her ex-husband, would not finalize their divorce, and he was just basically waiting for her to die so he wouldn't have to deal with it. Apparently, this may be more truth than fiction, because they finalized the divorce one day before she died. Now, she passed away at 53 of cancer a few days ago, and everyone was mourning the loss going forward with that one. But the biggest thing was in secret and quiet. I don't know how long she thought she had, but they settled the divorce settlement where she waived the spousal support as part of the settlement just to get it done. So we do know, if you want to call it a happy ending, she was trying to work out to get out of this relationship for quite some time and battling cancer. She did end up with losing the battle of cancer, but she lost it free of whatever entanglement that the divorce had. And now that she's on to a better place, she no longer has to worry about any of this stuff. So we once again send prayer and love to the fans and the family who loved and cared for Shannen Doherty and those who were basically fighting against her. You know, people, as I'm finding out a lot with Operation Chaos, people just tend to be people. Finally, the number 8 story, and one of the angles from the iconic picture of Donald Trump pumping his fist, but it's not so much about him pumping his fist, it's about finding out how this whole thing happened. FBI say they have cracked the phone belonging to Trump rally shooting suspect. Ramon, oh, this is the wrong story, so I'll give you that. Did not quite update that going forward. But here's what happened for this. Cracking phones is now a harder thing to do because phones are hard to crack. We've had encryption things on those things. And the companies that manage the phones have learned that when they open up people's phones, their customers don't like giving up their privacy. But FBI have cracked the phone and are seeing what they can get out of the phone from the shooter. The big problem is they're not getting very much out of the phone from the shooter. It's just the interesting thing about it. The shooter, whose name is, look to the sides for my other notes going forward because it's not in my actual script, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who for all practical purposes looks like it was just a whim to shoot somebody that day and happened to be President Trump, making it happen all in a very quick idea, quick last minute thing in a spot that should have been secured by either local police or the FBI or the Secret Service. Everyone's right now complaining about whose job it was. Secret Service said it was local police. Now they're saying, no, it's us. A big deal going all forward for all cases. We do know they will get what they can out of the phone. Right now, this guy has no real profile other than all the people giving the same sad stories you get from people on these things. He was a loner in high school. He joined the shooting club because he wanted to fit in, but he was a bad shot. As I said earlier about the Kyle Gass thing, we are much better that Donald Trump did not get killed in this attempt than we are if he had been, because then things would have really been up and popping going forward. So there's that. The aftermath of having this image to show for the world, especially at the Republican National Convention going on right now, the repercussions may mean a lot going forward for our future, our politics, our way of life. It may, but not having Donald Trump and losing him in a manner like this, trust me, things would have got a whole lot worse, whole lot faster. You may wish for Donald Trump to go away, but there's various degrees of going away. Let's go to our teaser story for this morning. This story is a story we teased to you that is upcoming in our feeds in the Facebook and the X lives we have. We have two sources. We have various sources who are online. We'll explain those in a moment when we get to our promotion part. But we have a feed, a page on Twitter, X, and a page on Facebook. Those pages are facebook.com/thisisconversationproject and twitter.com or x.com/th_conversation. You can find those links in the description for this audio, this video, how you're getting this. What we do every 50 minutes is we post a news article there every 50 minutes or so. Sometimes we're a little off, sometimes a little short, a little long based on how things go. We have a news article from various sources. This one you see here in the video is from AP, and this is an interesting one that we want you to engage in or not. The more you engage in it, the more we know we should talk about it or not. That just means go to the headline, click the emoji face of your choosing to engage in it, read it, share it, do those things. Higher the score gets in engagement, higher chance of talking about it in the next iteration. California is the first state to ban school rules requiring parents get notification of child's pronoun change. So what that means, in my very poor and dry reading of it, is California has banned the rules that schools can put into to keep from telling the parents of a kid if they want to change their pronouns. If Sally goes to school and wants to be a he, him, or they, them, they don't have to tell the parents that Sally did this. Now, if the school were actual doing actual counseling, then maybe. But this is where it gets interesting because it tells parents they can't be in their kids' lives and tell the kids what to do because their kids belong to them. And that's a complicated issue on its own. So California has banned this. So if a school has a plan, has some sort of program that says the school does not have to tell the parents about changing in pronouns, as small, as silly, as simple as it may seem, this will be a big deal. They'll probably talk about it tomorrow at the convention or today at the convention. So do you want to talk about it tomorrow in our newscast? You just go to our feeds on Facebook and X and let me know. Engage in the stories. And if this is one you engage in enough, it's high enough, and was one of the top 15 stories of the day, we'll get over 30 stories in about a 30-hour period for these things here. If this is one you want to get into, we will talk about it more than likely. If you get top 15 story, we'll look at it. We'll weigh out the other ones and see how it goes. Teaser story for the day was Bhad, Bhabie. I didn't think you guys would really get that into it. It was the third story of the day based on your rankings. So it was a big deal. You make the big deals here. You tell us what we're talking about. Right now, I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. And this is our Spotlight sponsor for the weekend. The Spotlight sponsor is me and the bigger umbrella that this thing actually falls under, and More Bitter Media, and one other piece, and that is my publishing empire. But this is also part of what we have for Things You Might Have Heard, because Big Words Project is a part of what we do to promote media in these things. So we have more media to talk about. And it's a word of the day. So it's pretty simple. It's a word of the day. It's fun. It's light. We'll get to today's actual word of the day in a moment. But we also have, to go along with this, the Big Words Project, as it is, Big Words You Ought to Know. And this is volume 2, released this week, with the book covering the words anodyne to zealot. 100 words for you to flip to either all at once or one a day in the next 3 months, and just learn a new word every single day. Just pick up the book, go through it as well. It's very simple. It's on Kindle, Amazon Kindle, for $6. It's on Amazon as a paperback and other places as well for $12. $1 from the sale of every book goes to a local reading program here in Arkansas. Every quarter, when I produce the next book, I basically tally 3 months worth of earnings and send it in. So we're going to see what happens for this next book. Book number 1 still out there, so those proceeds go as well. So if you want to buy 1 and 2, you behind on the 8 ball, get onto it. Speaking of 8 balls, we got 12 of these coming every 3 months for 3 years. We're going to try this. We're going to see what happens. Yes, I can find 1,200 words. Yes, I can find 1,200 distinct words. We're going to see how you guys are in learning with us and getting the books as well, and helping kids learn to read. The cover now looks very boring. I'm going to keep this format for all 12 books because I figured out how to build it in the Amazon building process. So it's not the most engaging cover, but hey, we're doing what we can do. This is Big Words You Ought to Know, Volume 2. Click the link in the descriptions to go directly to Amazon, or just search 100 Words, Volume 2, pain, it'll take you to this one, or 100 words pain, it'll take you to both of them. It's set in the series, so once you click on it, you can see all the books in there, and we'll erase the older book cover as soon as we can because there's some issues to refresh some stuff, but it doesn't matter. Buy that book too, and we'll put the money in the pot as well. It just won't have the terrible looking cover that it is. The other book has a great cover. I couldn't redo that cover for some reason, so unfortunately, we're where we are. The Conversation Project lives online at thisistheconversationproject.com. Check us out at our website, thisistheconversationproject.com, for more details on what we do, where we do it, and how we do it. Find us on our feeds and engage with us so we can get the stories to talk about every single weekday morning. Consider becoming a partner, going to the partnerships page, and directly helping us out, becoming a part of the board of directors, if you will, to partner up to help us do better for this project. We feel it produces great products. We feel that. We do our best to make sure it does that. We see what we get from you guys. We're seeing a lot of great responses, a lot of great movement nowadays as we move back into the original, not so original, but the current home, the big studio. I've done some improvements and been doing some things in between. And so we want to keep those things growing. If you're not up to being a partner, if you don't feel we're up to spending, basically it's like less than 5% of people who are engaged in something can actually spend money on it. So we'll take that 5%, but we'll take your comments via the conversation inbox at gmail.com. And we need you to just engage in the stories and the feeds. Otherwise, stop by the website, see where you can find us in various forms, audio, video, and just the word text in the newsletters, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, all the stuff, all the funds, all the places, all the stuff, all the sponsors, because we have more of those at our website. This is conversationprod.com. Right now, we've done the business. We got you the news. Let's have some fun. This is Things You Might Ought to Know for Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. The show after the show, inside the show, where we do some of the funner things on the day for just getting you through your day. It's a light-hearted thing to get through, and people love it. It takes a lot more time. We go long because we do that, but people miss the birthdays. They miss the celebrations, so we do what we can to make sure we do this. We'll see if we can get more people engaged, involved, so they can actually pony up so we can do this with better frequency. But enough about me. Let's get to you and the fun stuff. Fun stuff for today include birthdays, and today's birthdays are very fun because it is David Hasselhoff's 72nd birthday. Happy birthday to, I don't know if it's still called the Hoff. He's not the craziest guy in TV, reality, or otherwise these days. There's plenty of other crazies out there, but David Hasselhoff is an iconic guy who I think he was on a soap opera. I kept trying to rack my brain. Of course, playing Knight Rider, being Michael Knight from Knight Rider, playing on Baywatch and Baywatch Nights. Do not sleep on Baywatch Nights, both the cop show and the horror show it was. He was the original TV Nick Fury, back when Nick Fury was still the white guy. And he did the cheeseburger thing. David Hasselhoff, turning 72 years old on the day. National treasure. Yes, he is. Also, some highlights to Mark Burnett, turning 64, the man who made Donald Trump look like Donald Trump. So I guess you can blame him, if you will. And singer Luke Bryan is 48 years old on this day. Wrong mouse. Wrong mouse. Today in history, our history lesson for today includes 1997. So for July 17th, going back not that far ago, we closed the last remaining 400 stores that had the Woolworth name. A store that was very popular as a kid, and because of my speech impediment, I just literally could not say Woolworth. But the final 400 stores closed on this day in 1997. The five and dime chain was alive for 117 years. Nice run, but at some point in time, essentially the times, the change, the internet, the way things went, the five and dime idea project overtaken by the dollar store, which right now don't really sell many things that are $1. There you go. In 2019, I should say, Netflix reached 150 million subscribers worldwide. That is total. Yes, there still were some people getting DVDs, and that while it's starting to lapse or be taken care of, 150 million people decided Netflix was the way to go for their entertainment, for basic movies. Also in 2019, Mexican drug cartel head Joaquin El Chapo Guzman sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years in New York. Why did they do the plus 30 years or whatever? because just in case they are good enough to get some sort of parole or some sort of good treatment where they can get off of a life sentence, it means they stick around for extra time to make sure they pretty much die in jail. Let's move to our word of the day. We talked about the Big Words Project a moment ago. It's a website, bigwordsproject.com, where we give you a word of the day. Also links to these words and links to the books we have. And we do some more stuff. We're going to try to do more things as time allots to get more engaging, more content on some big words and some bigger stories and essays as well. But right now, the Big Words Project is living online with the words of the day. And the word for today is a big word that I'm going to butcher. It is pusillanimous. Pusillanimous. One more time. Pusillanimous. Lacking in courage, strength, and resolution. The leader's pusillanimous decision to avoid conflict at all costs left the country vulnerable to external threats. That sentence may be more apropos than I thought. It's basically a sentence created by the AI randomly to used in a sentence, and it was written, like 4 or 5 months ago. But pusillanimous is your word of the day. I dare you to use this word and sentence today and see who doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. And then you have to explain what's going on. And then you have to tell them to go to thebigwordsproject.com to sign up for Get a Word of the Day. And it's a twofer. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's actually a threefer. Good for them. We all learn. We all grow. We all share. How about that? Next, I'll share with you the daily affirmation we have for you today. Our affirmation, you can find more about that at our website, and you can buy a copy of another book I have going on, which is 100 Daily Affirmations for Positivity and Confidence. This is one of them in the book. I am calm, patient, and in control of my emotions. Repeating an affirmation like this encourages positive shifts in emotions. This affirmation helps you encourage a positive shift in your emotions, making you feel lighter, happier, and free, which contribute to an overall well-being and mental health. How's that for you? You want to feel a little better? An affirmation like this, saying to yourself, I am calm, I am patient, I'm in control of my emotions, will help you be calm, patient, and control those emotions if you're getting a little haywire on those cases. And finally, pretty good celebration for today. The good times on this day, going for Hot Dog Day, July 17th, Hot Dog Day. National Hot Dog Day is an informal holiday in the United States, which is celebrated on different dates each year, depending on the annual hot dog lunch event, which is today. It's hosted by the North American Meat Institute. Didn't know they existed? Well, they got you a good one, and they're going to do it on Capitol Hill. Although the date does differ each year, it's generally taken on the third Wednesday in July. National Hot Dog Month is July, hot dog eating contest. And so the third Wednesday, the North American Meat Institute held this big old competition, big old celebration. The competition was, 2 weeks ago going forward. If you don't like this one, another tasty treat is Peach Ice Cream Day. It is that today. Also, National Tattoo Day and World Emoji Day. So alternate celebrations or also celebrations, eat a hot dog and get a tattoo. Maybe that's in your future. Right now, this program is in our past. This has been things you might not have heard and big things or things you might not know for today. Today being July 17th, 2024. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, and if you've gotten this far and you're wondering why things look a little different and why we're not producing this actually live at 5:50 and you're seeing it recorded back or playback closer to 6:30 or so, having some issues with the live feed issue. So we didn't want that to hold us back from doing it. We started the recording at the right time and with the right amount of time. But unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of delay. So no one comes in on the live feeds. Hopefully you'll enjoy this as it is. Different look because we're using my on-deck recorder and not the live feed streamer. Actually very happy with the way this worked out. I tried to use this recorder as the streaming feed. It didn't work so well, but we're going to see what we do going forward to try to see if we can make that happen. We will try something in the future. Maybe we can do something that will work out. It'll work hopefully on some of the lag issues. We're gonna try that. We're gonna try something. Let's just put it like that. In the meantime, thank you so much for being a part of the show with us. Let us know if you like this recorded version that's a little bit late. Maybe you don't watch it live and you want to see it with better production, especially if the voiceover we've had issues with that is better. Let me know if you rather have it live so you can record and do live chats going forward. We love having Chris Mack popping in her thoughts process, especially on the birthdays. She loves the birthdays. We love having you here. Make sure you're staying limber, hydrated, and on task. Because of that, that's my way of reminding you that life is long, life's a marathon, not a sprint. Take good care to make sure you are in the best shape as possible to get through this life. And stop by our website. Follow us on the feeds. Consider being a partner. Help us do this as a better job. Since we're here and doing this, I'm doing a quick moment. We're already long, so let's go ahead and do this. I have the slide that's next is my current listing of partners and shout outs. And the newest partner into the grouping is Joy Winters with the spare change. That's $1 a month. And this doesn't seem like much, but someone willing to give me $1 a month means they're willing to help out. And a lot more dollars adds up to lots of cents, if you will. Right now, our cup of coffee level, which is $5 a month, continues to be Harold Braxton, Colby Green, and of course, a little while back, my man Eldon Kidd found me, and he's back. He's been following me along for a long time with some stuff. He's back with this, giving me $5 a month, and I appreciate that. If you want to go to our partnership page and find ways to help contribute, you can also give one-time donations via Buy Me Coffee or Venmo or PayPal or a Cash App as well to help produce these things for the Conversation Project, other issues inside of the More Better Media platform, and sometimes just tip jar to help a guy out. We've had a lot of struggles, a lot of issues in the last 2 years, specifically the tornado hitting the house and not having a house for a while. And so to be able to bounce back, get back in order, and start some semblance of order. We're still way, way behind in a lot of paperwork, to be honest. But the fact that you guys still show me love in this thing as I ramble on sometimes is awesome. So I thank you so much for being a part of the crew, hanging out with us, doing the things you do, and thanking them particularly. If you want to check out our partnerships page and join in the fun, it's there. Otherwise, just email me with your comments and concerns, and we'll take those in consideration, just as well as those folks as well. That's it. Love you. Mean it. No little cross screen, no little fade screen. This is what we have. We're just going to put up like this. No editing, because it's going to take 2 hours to process 30-minute video, and we're just going to go with it, start, stop, and go. So hopefully no real glitches inside the thing. Love you. Mean it. We'll probably do this again tomorrow with some other, not have time to play with this. See how this works out. Love you. Mean it. See you tomorrow.